to identify this suspect. I want to thank Director Patel and Deputy Director Bongino for their leadership and for providing us the resources and the personnel to reevaluate all of the data that we had. We dove into more than 3 million lines of data to come up with this suspect. Director Patel, Deputy Director Bongino, thank you for your support, thank you for your passion, and thank you for your investment in this investigation. From me, on behalf of the investigators, the Washington Field Office, and all of our partners, thank you. I'd also like to thank Judge Pirro. Judge, your team and you are absolutely amazing. You're the type of prosecutors and U.S. attorney, that all of the investigators across the country want to work with. They're hard-nosed and they're aggressive, and thank you for that. I'd also like to thank the American public for providing tips and leads, not just on this case, but every day on cases across the country that are being solved by law enforcement. And finally, I want to commend all of the members of the Washington Field Office, and most specifically, the investigative team. Their diligence and persistence led to this arrest today, and they are absolutely, totally dedicated not only to this case, but every case they work. So thank you, Washington Field Office. Last, I will say our work is not done. The FBI will continue to pursue every lead and use every resource that we have to ensure that the D.C. pipe bomber is brought to justice. Thank you.
You keep hearing the words partnership and team, and that's what we are. And we could not do this without our U.S. Attorney, Jeanine Pirro. Jeanine, from day one, has worked tirelessly for our country and for our nation's capital. It's my honor to introduce my friend, U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro.
Thank you very much, Attorney General. And you have been listening to a lot of thank yous and a lot of gratitude. The reason that we're thanking each other to the extent that we are today is because we have seen in this case an incredible collaboration around the clock, in the middle of the night. It doesn't matter. We call each other, we make contact, they need a warrant, they need something, someone wants legal advice. These are the men and women who never give it up. You hear about government employees, but I don't know if you really realize what it is that they do. They are incredible, and this case is big. 4 years, 10 months, and 28 days ago, an individual placed a bomb in the vicinity of both the RNC and the DNC. And for that amount of time, that individual evaded accountability. Today, as a result of the cumulative efforts of the men and women in the FBI and the police department and the Department of Justice, we are finally able to make an arrest of an individual by the name of Brian Cole. As the Attorney General has indicated, he is arrested for transporting an explosive device in interstate commerce, as well as the attempted malicious destruction by means of explosive materials. You know, folks, this case involved millions of pieces of data. And it is a huge win because it was like finding a needle in a haystack. So much of this evidence was very specific, but a lot of it was also very general. For example, there were 233,000 black end caps of the type that were used in this case. I want you to think about the fact that the FBI had to go through the sale of every one of them to try to find commonality with an individual, along with the purchase of the pipe itself, the cap ends, the wires, the steel, and the 9-volt batteries. Every one of those had to be mined and remined to the point where we were able to then connect. And make no mistake, It was this administration, it was this president who made the decision that we were going to use all of our efforts to get it done, and get it done they did. Finally, let me say this. Today begins the formal process of accountability, where this defendant will begin his journey through the criminal justice system. And I pledge to you that the United States Attorney's Office will take this case across the finish line. Again, thank you to the incredible work of the FBI, to the Attorney General, and to our local partners as well. This is a job that I think was well done.
Thank you. President Trump's directive to all of us was to not only make America safe again, but D.C., and to make it safe and beautiful. We could not have done that without our partnership with Mayor Bowser and Chief Smith. It is my honor to introduce Metropolitan Police Department Chief Smith.
Good afternoon, and thank you, everyone. I am Chief Pamela Smith, Chief of Police of the Metropolitan Police Department. Thank you, Attorney General Bondi, U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro, and FBI Director Patel for having me here today. For nearly 5 years, the agencies standing here today have worked together under the leadership of the FBI to locate our suspect who is responsible for the 2 pipe bombs that were placed around our city. MPD members assigned to the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force have supported this case from the beginning. That supports include looking, reviewing, and going through countless, probably thousands of hours of CCTV footage from around the DNC and RNC headquarters, and they followed up on hundreds and thousands of leads from members of our communities. What I will say today is that Washingtonians can rest easier today knowing that the suspect responsible for this act is now in custody. This morning's arrest is yet another reminder that committing any act with the intention of harming the residents and visitors of the District of Columbia will result in your arrest. The men and women of the Metropolitan Police Department, the FBI, the ATF, the U.S. Capitol Police, and certainly the prosecutors at our U.S. Attorney's Office will go to the furthest length. I heard somebody say to the end of the earth, but thank God we didn't have to go to the end of the earth today, that we were able to bring this subject into custody. I want to commend the men and women of the FBI and the members of the Metropolitan Police Department and all of the agencies who are standing behind me today on a job well done. I will turn it over now to Attorney General Bondi.
We're going to take some questions. Just remember, as I said in the beginning, this is ongoing. It's very active. The search warrants are still being executed. Many charges potentially to come. So just keep that in mind when asking your questions.
Jake, Fox News.
So you said it had been nearly 5 years, we all know that, and that you said there have been no new evidence. So can you say anything about the evidence that actually did lead to this arrest? And then secondarily, you're talking about additional charges possibly. Can you say what those you might be considering, or terrorism charges, or what?
We can't discuss new charges, of course, yet, ongoing. But what I will say is this is why this was so incredibly important, more than any other case, is this is in our nation's capital where this happened. And now, thanks to the FBI, we know that this defendant was living just miles away from here in Virginia. So as to the evidence in the case, I'm going to let Director Patel take that, but it's still very active and very ongoing.
Thank you, General. And as I stated earlier, and as the General has already reiterated, our job is to provide full accountability in the court of law with Judge Pirro's team. And in order to do that, we have to preserve the chain of custody and evidentiary value. What I will say generally is that when you go through 3 million lines of information, y'all can think about the amount of cell phone data that has to be ingested and triangulated and dumped and received. You also have to think of just sheer human ingenuity. We brought in a team of experts who are the best at what they do in their specific fields to reevaluate that evidence, to dive back in, and to not come back with a no for an answer until they had found the suspect. And when you develop evidence, you get a search warrant. And when you get a search warrant, you get an address. And when you get an address, you hit the house. And that's what we did.
Sadie, Wall Street Journal.
Hi there. So what can you tell us about this person's motivations and whether they were driven by politics or any other for any other reason why?
Right now, it's ongoing. Again, we just executed the search warrant early this morning. It's ongoing. But America's safer, DC's safer because he's in custody.
Mary Margaret Daily Wire.
Thank you so much. So, any theory on why Kamala Harris has never mentioned coming within 20 feet of being assassinated, and any news on why her Secret Service team took so long to find this bomb at the DNC?
No, but what I will tell you is
Have you recovered the notable sneakers? Have you done surveillance of this suspect from that aha moment to when you exercised the search warrants today? And obviously, this happened on January 5th into January 6th. How should the public look at this case, separate from all of the cases related to what transpired on January 6th and the president's subsequent pardons?
I'm going to let Director Patel take the evidence part. We have to be careful again. You've asked very good investigative questions, but this is ongoing, very active. But America should feel safer today. We say a pipe bomb. These are bombs. These were live, active bombs that were placed in Washington, D.C. Director.
Thank you. This shows you how much detail you and the American public have paid attention to this case. Of course, we analyzed everything that you're seeing on this poster board and information that you will see through the formal charging process and court process. But we want to let that evidence speak for itself because, again, we do not want to disrupt the accountability that we owe the American public. Yes, you heard about the cell phone tower data. Yes, you heard about, of course, we surveil individuals who we think we're going to blow up American citizens. But how and when we do it and why we do it is not something we're ever going to reveal unless the Department of Justice deems it fit at trial. So we appreciate your attention to detail and your hardcore investigative work, but you can just imagine some of those same skills are being utilized by this FBI, this Department of Justice, our partners, the ATF, and everybody across the board. And this is an interagency win for the American people.
Was this suspect on your radar
All right,
before?
thank you guys very much.
Thank you all. And one more thing, this is the best birthday present I think Deputy Director Bongino could ask for today.
How is it different, ma'am?
Happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
How is it different, ma'am, than the other cases?
Thank you very much.